Welcome back to Behind the Print podcast, where we feature industry leaders and uncover the creative minds and their businesses within the world of professional printing. Our mission is to provide you with inspiring, actionable resources that elevate your business projects and accelerate your journey to excellence in profit and print. Today's episode is Mackinac is Art, and I'm here today with Executive Director of the Mackinac Arts Council, Laura Raisch.
Hi.
Hey, how's your day been today?
Pretty good. Pretty
Good.
good. Thanks for asking.
I'm so glad to have you on the show. I'm super excited for today's episode.
I'm delighted to be here. I love Print Center USA, and you've been so wonderful to us. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Yes, this is the perfect collaboration. So, Laura, can you tell me about Mackinac Arts Council and your role as the executive producer?
Absolutely. The Mackinac Arts Council was founded back in 2003 by our founder, Becky Barnwell, and it was created because we realized there was a need for arts and culture on the island with the island residents, seasonal workers, and visitors. We have 1 million people that come to this island, which is mostly tourism, but then we have island residents and seasonal employees that benefit from rich culture and arts in our society. So we formed the Mackinac Arts Council, as I said, in 2003 to meet the arts and culture needs of Mackinac Island through a diversity of initiatives, services, and cultural programming. It's been remarkable. We're going on our 22nd year, and it just grows with each year.
Wow, that is so cool. So, the Mackinac is such a unique place. How does the island itself inspire the arts community?
Well, if you haven't been to Mackinac Island, you should definitely come. It is a magical island, a little over 8 miles round. Most people don't know this, but Mackinac is our nation's second national park after Yellowstone. So Ulysses S. Grant deemed it a national park. And then 10 years after it was a national park, it became a state park. So it's been a state park. We're going to be celebrating our 150th this summer. It is a magical, very diverse island that during the season has no motor vehicles. So you are inspired by walking and biking and horse-drawn carriages and the water, the air. Just our 4 seasons in Michigan are so inspiring to artists. The music that comes out of the island, the visual arts that comes out of the island, the need and want for community theater, and we show movies, we do art exhibits, we do concerts in the park. It's just, I've been coming here my entire life, living here for a little bit of time, and it's just, you wake up and you're inspired.
That's beautiful.
The nature of it is just inspiring. My family, my dad would paint rocks. He'd go to the beach and find rocks and watercolor on rocks. I still have them. But I'm inspired by costuming and sewing, and that's my sort of my bailiwick, my side passion. But you really have to come to the island to experience it. It hits you hard when you get here.
It's like a symbiotic relationship that's so natural between the arts and the island itself.
Yeah, the arts and nature and the arts and just the people are inspiring. The land is inspiring. The history of the island is incredibly inspiring. So it's perfect to have this beautiful arts and culture community on the island.
And what a magical place. And you'd mentioned your dad kind of getting you into the arts, but how did you first become involved in the arts community at Mackinac?
It goes back to my childhood. My parents were very involved in the arts, in community theater, in going to the symphony and the opera, and they instilled that in their children. They also instilled Mackinac. So we would come to Mackinac every summer, my entire life. They ended up purchasing a home on the island, which is now my family's, the children. but my father was a architectural signage maker, and we would come and stay at Grand Hotel where he did all the signage work for Grand Hotel, and he would write plays, and the community would get involved, the architects would get involved, and we would do plays on Mackinac, musicals. So he would rewrite these hilarious parodies on, say, Phantom of the Opera, which was Phantom of the Grand, or Cats was Bats, or Showboat, the classic Showboat, he retitled Slowboat, which he based on the Ottawa for Arnold Transit Company, was hysterical. So we were always immersed in the arts. We were always immersed in, my dad did set design on the side. My mother would costume. So there are four of us, there are four children in my family. So all of us were immersed in not only the arts, but also volunteering. So we would volunteer to also use our creative passions toward nonprofits for which I work. So I came to the island and I was doing some different artistic endeavor, floral arranging, and learned about this position and applied for it. I've only been in the position for a year and a half. It's been a fantastic year and a half because now I'm on an island that I love, doing what I love, which is bringing arts and culture to our community.
That's the perfect dream job, doing what you love, doing it
Right?
as your work. That's perfect.
Right. It does have its challenges. It's a little different than being on the mainland, where it's a little easier to get your sound equipment or get your wood orders or get your paint orders. It works differently, but I think it actually enhances the final result.
Gives it a special effect.
Yeah.
So you'd mentioned the council a little bit. Can you tell me more about their mission and what they strive to do?
Sure. So as I said earlier, our mission is to meet the arts and culture needs of the island. We have a wonderful board. It's a working board. Everyone takes part in the different areas of the Arts Council. We have 7 different series that we produce, and then we have our winter activities. And all of our board members are quite installed in working to make all of our events happen.
Wow, yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. A lot goes into it, but it's definitely
It
worth it
does.
in the end. I've seen some of your social media posts and even some of the ads for Mackinac, and man, it's just gorgeous. You see those carriages with the horses, and
Yep.
everybody's just enjoying the weather. That's
Yep.
beautiful. And you guys host summer concerts at the Marquette Park beneath the historic Fort Mackinac.
We
What
do.
What's the atmosphere like in those events? Can you share your favorite moment maybe from one of those performances?
Oh, it's incredible. And I was going to those performances before I was producing those performances, and it's quite remarkable. So Marquette Park is part of our state park, part of the state park, and we start setting up in the afternoon. We set up our stage, and you have to take into account it's not a venue, it's not an indoor venue. So when you're setting up the stage and you're setting up sound and you're getting ready to put up this beautiful concert in the park on a Thursday evening, you have to consider the horses because they don't like loud, bangy sounds. So you're doing all of this labor amidst the blue sky and the beautiful wind and horse and buggy. And so it's set up and it's remarkable. We have visitors, seasonal employees, island residents, summer cottagers. Everyone converges on the park and lays out their blankets and their chairs, and there's a group that cooks, that brings all this food, or you can go to Dowd's Market, which is the oldest grocery store in the country. So you go over and you grab a slice of pizza, or you get their unbelievable chicken salad and a beverage, and you come and you sit out in the park for an hour and a half, and you get to listen to known artists, and you also get introduced to new artists. It's part of our mission of making sure that artists are seen and heard, and it sort of helps them on their journey. But we've had Grammy winners, we've had bluegrass award-winning performers. It's a family-friendly Americana folk bluegrass experience, and it's an honored tradition here because it's been going on for 20, well, this will be our 22nd year. It's amazing to sit in the park and listen to this gorgeous music and have the scenery that you do with your sky, and the yacht docks are in front of you and you have freighters going by. I mean, it's remarkable. It's magical. You have a few geese and a few seagulls that have not gotten the message to sort of just sit back and relax. But you're sitting there in this gorgeous park with our historic Fort Mackinac behind you and our gorgeous Straits of Mackinac in front of you. It's quite an experience. I think my favorite experience was meeting an artist 25 years ago as she was going through Interlaken. She was doing her schooling and her training, and I got to invite her back this year. And she's played in the park before, but I got to personally invite her back with her husband. It was Rachel Davis and Dominic Davis. And she has a career in her own right, and he has a career in his own. He's the bassist for Jack White. And to hear the two of them together on that stage, it it was almost it was sort of like meeting your hero. It was a little nerve-wracking for me because I got a little intimidated in a great way. Just
Yes,
in a great way.
intimidating in the best way.
In the best way. And it's just wonderful to, in the history before me, seeing all these artists and then getting to meet and work with these artists it's an honor for me. It's a joy for me. We have artists that come from all over the country, and then we have our Michigan artists. And I think in Michigan, there is just something in the water. It turns out some of the most incredible artists. And we know this fact that, and I'm not sure how relevant it is to this conversation, but we know that on Broadway, every single Broadway show has someone from Michigan. Every single one of them. So, and we have these incredible Grammy-winning, Oscar-winning, all of these artists that have been born and raised in Michigan. We're very proud of that. So we do like to make sure that we are showcasing Michigan artists, whether or not they have already become known artists or whether they are just coming up into that performance space. So we like our Michiganders.
Yes, that's a great mission and so inspiring, helping so many different artists get just visibility.
Recognized.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Giving them
recognized.
visibility. Mm-hmm.
And I love how you mentioned when you're setting up how the horses are kind of there and all the animals and the winds blowing. It's so intentional how everybody who lives on the island and works on the island is doing things. That's really, really cool.
Right. It's interesting because we have this great series for employees and residents only. We do Mackinac's Got Talent. And we encourage people. So if you're a seasonal employee, our seasonal employees come from all around the world. So we do 2 audition process and then we do a finale. And it was interesting last year, we wanted to have the audience a little bit more involved. And you have to go through a process where if you're inside a theater, 4 walls, you can do things that you can't do outdoors. It just doesn't quite work. And we wanted to have these streamers and fun. And I went to the head of our carriage tours just to make sure it was okay for the horsies. And we had to go in a different direction. And we found a different place to use the streamers. We put them into our Willy Wonka production that just took place. But it's everyone works together in this atmosphere because there are different conditions here on Mackinac than you would find on the mainland. So it's an education. It's really, it's a magical job.
Yeah, very symbiotic with nature. I love that.
Mhm. Yeah,
So, speaking of auditioning and big hits like that, your headquarters at the Center of the Arts is housed in the historic Mission Point Theater.
it is. It is. It's housed in the historic Mission Point Theater, which was built in the 50s under for moral rearmament. It was then sold and it became a college, Mackinac College, for 4 years. And then it became a resort. So the pieces were added on. The theater is incredible. It was all hand done logs across the ice to complete. But what I love so much about that theater is that is the theater where Somewhere in Time was filmed. It's a 1979 movie starring Christopher Reeve, Christopher Plummer, and the beautiful Jane Seymour, along with George Wendt from Cheers and a couple other actors that were no names that became names that are in this film. But it was filmed in the theater, and then Mission Point also has a sound stage. So a lot of the scenes that were filmed were where you are, you think it's in one place and it was really filmed in the soundstage. So Mission Point had a heavy hand in helping to get that film produced, filmed, and made. And I giggle because every time I walk on that stage, I think I'm Jane Seymour giving her soliloquy from the movie. Silly, but it's heartwarming. We have a chair. The chair marked where Christopher Reeve sat and was filmed watching Jane on stage. So it's a really neat. It's a really neat place to visit, and that's where we do all of our community theater productions, and that's also where our gallery is housed. So we have a few exhibits in our gallery, from the Lilac Festival poster contest that our tourism bureau does, to our Poetic Visions of Mackinac, which is one of our school uh, productions or pieces where we work with our Mackinac Island Public School for a beautiful showing of art and poetry, and giving the children an opportunity to hone their art and then experience what it's like to have a juried show and win prizes for second and third for their art and for their poetry. So it's a really interesting program, one for which I am it's a heartstring puller.
For sure, that can be the difference between an artist and someone who falls out of love with art in
Right.
elementary school or just in school in general. So that's really cool that you work so closely with the school there.
Yeah, it's a really neat experience because all of the art teachers at the school work with the students at K through 12. And then the Arts Council takes that art and we have it framed. We have this wonderful, wonderful family downstate, Main Street Art, who frames it up for them, complimentary, frames it. And then we hang it, and they come to an art exhibition, and then we have jurors for art and for poetry. So they get to go through that whole process. And then at the end of the process, when the exhibit is finished, all those students get to take their framed artwork home, and they have it for the rest of their lives to experience it. I think it's just a wonderful experience for our school children to experience that form of art. And I think it does help carry them through. The kids are very involved in the theater. They're involved in helping us set up the stage for Music in the Park, and they're involved in our art series. So it's very important to us to educate through arts and culture all of our students on the island.
That's really cool. And on the note of education, can you tell me how Mackinac Arts Council uses printed materials to connect with their community?
Oh, I love my printed materials from Print Center USA. It's such an easy experience. I do. I love your company. I love working with the people who work there to help me better present our work. But we have season brochures and membership brochures We have posters. We have all of our print work, which is created in-house, but printed through Print Center USA. It's remarkable the response that I receive from our print work, how they, our invitations and our save the dates and our Christmas card is all done through Print Center USA. We just love the quality. We love being able to put art and our series and have it come off so vibrantly. And people, as I said, people have actually made comments to me of who did this for you? And I get to say, which part? And they say, well, who did the layout? And I said, well, I did the layout. And they said, well, where was this printed? It's like Print Center USA. And I love to say this, but you are based right outside the first national park, and we are the second national park. And I just think that, I think it's cool. I think that history is cool. But we love the product, and I personally love the help and the information. I ask a question, I get an answer. I can't decide what paperweight. I get this beautiful package in the mail with all of my samples for me to choose from. So I've said this before, we did try another printer and it didn't work. And I said, we're going back to Print Center USA. And that's how it's been. So we really love the work. We've been working with you prior to my coming on board. So we worked with you for 4 or 5 years and we have not been disappointed.
Wow, I am so glad. We are so glad we can help you and be just a resource center and help you with whatever you need to get done.
Yeah. You have been instrumental in helping us get our word out of what we're doing. You're really the only print work that we use. So,
That's great. We love that. We love getting other people inspired, getting the word out, getting everybody in the know. So that's really
right.
important to us. And we love that. So, what do you think has been the most transformative moment in the council's history? Maybe a time you realized this organization was making a huge, real impact.
I think our biggest impact is how we affect and help our seasonal employees. They come from all over the world, from every continent. They come and they're coming to this tiny island to do work, the work they love. But what are they doing on their off time? And so we're supplying this need, which does impact their life. We have 4 international celebrations that we do just for employees and island residents. And we have a Latin celebration, a Jamaican celebration, an Eastern Europe celebration. And then we have one that's called Up North, which is American, introducing us to them. And it's a chance for our island residents and our seasonal employees to come together, meet and greet. So you make lifelong friends when you work on Mackinac Island. No matter where you go in the world after you've been here or whether or not you stay, you make these lifelong friendships, you have these relationships, and these 4 international events, which have great impact, help seasonal employees, help our island residents come together and form relationships, learn about one another, learn about different cultures, and have a great time in the process.
That does sound like a great time. What an exciting job to have too. You on the island, get to meet all these cool people, all these
Yeah, I get to learn
artistic
about
people.
I brought in the fact that I wanted all of we throw a concert. This year we're going to add some dancing and some more culture to the event, teach a little bit more, but we also want to help them know what's on the island for them. What are their resources? What resources do they need? Where do they need to go? So we inform them in that way. And we have our island restaurants cater those events. So our island employees can get a taste of what's here in the beginning of their stay, what's here. So it's really fun to collaborate with our island resources to give resources to our seasonal employees.
That is super awesome, super exciting.
Hmm.
So, what are some challenges that Mackinac is currently facing?
Well, the currently the biggest challenge is what's going on in Washington, and there's a trickle down effect that I don't think people are aware of, which is, we submit grant requests, across the country for funding for our international events, for our music in the park, for our music on the trail, which is a day long experience, also magical. I know I've used that word too many times, but we work really hard from the end of April to the end of October. There isn't time. So we try and find moments where we can give arts and culture. And one of those is Music on the Trail, which is an all-day event where you come to one of our state park trails called the Botanical Trail. And as you wander through the trail, there are musicians that are playing all day. So you can come upon a harp concert, a cello concert, hammer dulcimer. You could have a quintet or a quartet. This year we're adding dance and we're adding poetry to the trail. So you can meander the trail and you can be in the trail for an hour. You could be in the trail for 5 hours. You can come and go from the trail. But for performances and programs like that, we go out and seek grant funding. And we have been awarded grants. But at the moment, due to what's going on in Washington, all of those grants that have been awarded are on pause. So, where we set out with a budget and our grant budgeting, so that's a concern and a little hiccup. We're on pause, so we don't know what's going to happen with that funding. So that's definitely something that's serious and something that we hope will come to pass, that the funding will come through. But that is really one of our biggest challenges at the current moment. And I think the only other challenge we have is whether or not Mother Nature shines on us for our outdoor concerts.
That trail that you were mentioning
Yeah,
just sounds amazing. I could spend weeks there, not just hours, and come back.
right,
Oh my goodness, we need something like that where I live. I love that idea. How exciting.
right. Yeah, it was created about 4 years ago by one of our former directors, and she just had this vision, and I'm so madly in love with it. And this year we're adding. So it for the last 4 years it's been music. So this year we're adding, as I said, we're adding dance on the trail and we're adding poetry on the trail. So we're bringing more art forms into this afternoon of it's nature and art. I mean, come on. What could be
Can't
better?
beat that.
Right? Right? People bring hammocks, they bring lawn chairs, or they ride up on their bikes and they sit on their bikes and they listen. And we supply chairs and water and some little nibbly bites for people. It's an incredible afternoon in the fall.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And I hope those small hiccups go through and everything works out
Thanks.
for you because that's a big deal for sure.
Yeah, we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for
Fingers
you.
crossed. Fingers crossed.
So where do you see the council in 5 to 10 years?
Flourishing. Absolutely flourishing. I think getting through 20 years, we celebrated 20 years 2 years ago, which I think was a remarkable milestone. And I am looking forward to 25. I want to get to 25. And I think as we grow the Arts Council, we get to grow the programming, we get to grow my staff, which I'd very much like to do. We work on it with a very small staff, which is why we are unbelievably grateful for a working board. I don't think you have staff and board, and I think with us working together, it's just has a remarkable outcome. So I see us still flourishing. I see us with a few new programs. We want to bring in some additional programming. But I think the Mackinac Arts Council is around for quite some time.
Awesome, because I cannot wait to visit. I haven't made it there yet, but I need to.
Oh, you need to come to Mackinac. You need to come to Mackinac. Everyone needs to come to Mackinac. It's
I
just,
agree.
its history here is, it is worth knowing. It will enhance your life. I think coming to Mackinac enhances people's lives.
You need to do a scientific study on that. I bet you could prove it.
Right. It enhanced my life. I'm living proof. I am
Living proof.
living proof. I
So
went from a visitor to a resident to a full-time employee, and I love it. I just love it.
how exciting. So you mentioned some future projects coming up, but if you had unlimited resources for 1 year, what bold dream would you take on for Mackinac?
Oh, if I had unlimited resources to add a program, is that what you mean?
Yep.
So we have music in the park, and then we have workshops, which are all sorts of different painting, drawing, floral design, felting, tapestry work. And we have a lecture series. We have our community theater programming. We do 4 community theater productions. The performing arts series, which is a menagerie of performing arts from Broadway to classical. But the one thing I really want to get on the boards is dance. I'd like to create a dance program where the island is able to see different forms of dance maybe 4 times a year. So I'd love to add dance. Yeah, it's dance. I'm going to go with dance.
Dance
Ding,
would
ding,
be so
ding.
exciting too. You could do
Yeah,
so much within that realm from
yeah.
ballet to just freestyle or
Ex
anything.
exactly. And giving master classes on that. We're bringing in acting workshops this summer, and we have the Sioux Opera from Sault Ste. Marie, Sioux Opera. So we do opera. So we have all of our arts. We just don't have dance. So we want to bring dance in.
That's so cool. I cannot wait to visit. I'm just getting more excited by the minute.
You have an open invitation.
I can't wait. I will definitely take you up on that. So, what's one piece of advice or inspiration you could give to other artists looking to make an impact?
Don't stop. Keep
That's a good
honing
one.
that. Keep going. Keep moving forward. I think we're in a great period of creating. We talk about all the time during COVID, we all turned to art in some form, whether it was movies or TV or the National Theater in England put out performances, which I was entirely grateful for. Watching Jane Eyre as a musical just blew my mind. But art's always there, and art always lifts up. For any artist in any medium, keep making art. We have to just keep making art. Just keep pushing.
I love that. So, if you're an artist out there, don't stop. Keep making art. It's important, and you're making a difference whether you know it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Laura, if you had a day completely free to spend however you'd like, what would you be doing?
That's a great question. Do you mean on Mackinac or anything?
Anything away from work.
Oh my gosh. I think that if I had a whole day, I don't even know what that's like. My whole day would be spent with my 2 puppies, Alfred and Matilda. And I know, and this book that I am trying to finish reading, brilliant book written by a dock porter here on Mackinac Island. It's a murder mystery revolved around Somewhere in Time, the movie Somewhere in Time. And I just want to finish the book because it's fabulous. And the name of the book is somewhere in crime, and it's just darling. And I can't find the time to get through that book. So I would love to do that. And then I'd like to take a dip in the Straits of Mackinac,
That sounds like an amazing time.
right?
So
This is
how
I'm simple. I'm very simple.
Me
So
too. Me too.
it's
I
either
could just
that
enjoy
or
the day.
it's either that or jump on a plane, fly to Paris and go to the Musée d'Orsay and look at the art.
No, for sure. That's exactly it. That's the dream day. Swimming
Right?
the straits or flying somewhere cool.
Yep. Yep.
So, how can our listeners get involved, possibly volunteer or work on the island, visit, or
Mm.
just learn more?
Check us out at mackinacartscouncil.org. All of the information is there. We love volunteers. We'd love to check out our membership, see what we do. Come and see a show, come and see a concert. Almost everything that we present is free to the public. So all of our music in the parks, all of our concerts with our performing arts series, our community theater, our exhibits in the gallery, those are all free of charge. You can just come and hang. Our workshops, they do have a very small fee just to cover our teachers and our supplies. But check out our website and come and visit Mackinac Island. You will not regret it.
Well, you guys heard her, MackinacartsCouncil.org. Be sure to check it out. You will definitely find something cool on their website that you just can't live without visiting. But that's a wrap on another episode of Behind the Print podcast. Thanks to our listeners as we have explored the artistry and innovation of the printing world. Remember, having a strong vision, building the right strategy, and using tools like print to amplify your message will make your brand stand out from the crowd. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to get your free sample pack from printingcenterusa.com and share it with your fellow business enthusiasts. Until next time, keep those creative sparks flying and remember, there's always more to discover behind the print.